I'm using a different camera today, and that camera has a viewfinder, which is over there. So I'm not used to this, I'm worried I'm going to start doing the whole video like this. Hopefully not. Hey guys! So, I'm back. Yes. It has been so long since I've been here. I'm sorry about that. Like I said in my last one, things have just been going all over the place. I've got parents going all over the place. My sister's moved out now, which is kind of good, but until she moves out fully, she's left her reptile collection with me, and I'm in charge of them. All 22 of them. Not fun. Granted, some of them are cute, but there's one that has the capacity to break your fingers, so I'm a little hesitant. Anyway, this isn't for a ramble, this is me getting back into the topics that I've been doing, and I thought as a way to ease my way in, wait, before I do that, do you like my new setup? I know it's kind of average at the moment, but the reason I've moved is because I got a tripod. Yay! No more putting up on a stepladder, and I get to sit down as well, which is great. Yeah, so let's get on with this, shall we? Today's video I'm going to be talking about sort of manly products like shower gels and stuff. Now I'm going to be honest with you, I find the gendering of products a bit stupid, but sometimes if you're going through transition, like getting something that is incredibly gendered can actually make you feel good. So I'm going to give you my tips and show you what I use. I have here a big box of things full of products that I use. I'm going to go through them, tell you about each one. First of all, we're going to talk about shower gels. My favourite is Lynx, which sounds incredibly typical, but it is really good. This one's Apollo. I'm going to be honest with you, if you're not a fan of really artificial perfumes, I wouldn't recommend getting anything from the Lynx lot because there's nothing natural smelling about these. I quite like it though. The things that does make me chuckle is the little bits of writing on the back. Like this one, a fragrance so seductive it will make you the centre of any girl's universe. That's incredibly heteronormative, if you catch my drift. Not only are they expecting me to have used this just to get a girl, but also the fact that I am interested in girls entirely. So that's the only thing I don't like, but when it comes to smell and stuff, it is quite good, but like I said, very perfumey, so it's not something you want to go with if you want to smell just a bit lighter. This is very much kind of, you know, in your face. Secondly, I'll move on to deodorants. I personally think there are a lot of deodorants out there that I prefer with the men's one because stereotypically men sweat a lot. So one I went for initially was this, which is Nivea Men 48 Hour Stress Protect. It's a roll-on one which I usually get on quite well with, and this one's lasted me for a good few months. It works relatively well, but I still sweat a lot, so I ended up going for something different, and I went for something which isn't technically male, but it's Vaseline Aloe Sensitive. So this is where I get into my talk about gendering of products. For me, when it comes to hygiene and stuff like that, even though this may smell more manly and essentially says men on the packaging, I don't really go for what's manly, I go for what works, and for me what works is this. I was recommended it by someone and it works a lot better. It is technically in the women's aisle, but I would say this is a pretty neutral thing. It's not something that needs to be gendered, and it's easy to use. We now move on to skincare. For me, skincare is something I don't really care about whether it's gendered or not. I did at one point because I wanted to have something that smelled more manly, but I realised very quickly that, you know, my skin is very different to a cis man's skin in the fact that the oils and chemicals are different, and also my skin is much more sensitive. I found it out the hard way because I picked up this men's skin clearing like face wash stuff. I put it on my skin and it literally just burned. It burned and I had to just washed the whole lot off. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. So I would say no matter how much you want to look manly, I would recommend just sticking with what's good for you. I am going through lots of different things at the moment. They're all technically sort of women's things, but at the moment this is actually the only stuff that matches the sort of oils in your skin. Obviously, if you're on hormones and stuff like that, I guess you could probably move on to something more sort of male, but until then I use stuff like Neutrogena, stuff and like that. Keeps things clear and keeps my face nice and moist and avoids any burning. This is something that a lot of people find a bit odd that I have in here. Talcum powder. You're probably wondering why there's talcum powder in here. The reason being is that this is what I would call like something necessary for any trans man who is binding. I know a lot of people are against it because of the health risks, but I can honestly say this stuff really works really well when you're binding. Just put a slight layer on your skin, and then put the binder over the top. It stops sweating, it absorbs the sweat, and it also stops any heat rashes that you get. Just make sure not to breathe it in, because even though this is not as much of a health risk as the original stuff did, the original stuff contained asbestos, so you know, this doesn't, but I would recommend just if you use it in a well ventilated room. Again, this isn't very manly, but it is essential for me as a trans man. Here we have some body spray. I am currently experimenting a lot with my body sprays. This one is called Addiction. I really like this one. Everyone in my family agrees that this stuff is nice. It doesn't stay for very long though. When it comes to fragrances that are more permanent, I usually go for some classic aftershave. And there is one that I use a lot of, and that is this, which is called Gold Digger. Essentially, this is a rip-off of that one called 1 Million, apparently. I know that sounds bad, but a lot of us, I know a lot of other trans men out there will know what it's like being on a budget, because your money is going everywhere, like binders, everything like that. Everything is so expensive, so getting something cheap like this is pretty good. I think you could probably get this for a tenner, which isn't that bad. So yeah, this one has a really nice scent to it, and it stays with you for quite a while. So yeah, I definitely recommend this one. So if you can find it, buy it. Now finally, we move on to the hair. Now as you can see, my hair is no longer the blue it once was, but to get it the shade of blue I didn't actually use a men's hair dye. I used this, which is Schwarzkopf Live Colour XXL. When it comes to hair dye, I think there's not really much of an issue regarding whether it's male or not. There are some that I think have men and women on the packaging, but for me it's not that much of a deal. I go to the women's section of the hair dye area all the time, because there are so many more options there, like so many different shades of blondes to browns to stuff, and it works really well with my hair. You know, just because it's a women's hair dye doesn't make me any less of a man, you know what I mean? Like, it's going on a man's head, therefore it's men's hair dye and it's a man's hair. So yeah. When it comes to styling it as well, I'm not usually that fussy when it comes to the gendering again. I have these, which are Shockwaves. This is like a sort of a matte clay and a gum. This sort of thing works really well. You only need a little bit. You get, if I show you, there's a lot in there. You get a scoop out, like, just to cover like the top of your finger. Rub it onto the layers of both the palms of your hands, and then just run it through, and it should keep it however you want it. And if you've got any little bits, you can just comb it through like that. I also have just started using this, which is VO5 Firm Hold Styling Gel. It's sort of more of a liquid, so for me it's a bit of an issue, because the first time I used it I squirted way too much out and it literally made my hair look really, really greasy. So it's best to try little bits and pieces. There are a lot of men's products out there that are for, like, you know, men's hair gels and stuff like that, but for me initially I went for what was cheapest, and then it ended up working. And I've had these for almost half a year and I still haven't used them all up. So I would definitely recommend any sort of textury gum sort of thing. It works really well. And I mean, honestly, on here it doesn't actually say anything to do with like women's, you know, hair gel or anything like that. It just has Shockwave's texture gum on it. There's nothing really gendered about it, so if you're worried about it looking too feminine, don't worry. Like, I don't think these look very, you know, girly at all. They just look very neutral. So yeah, there you have it. That is my box of manliness. As you can tell with me, a lot of it isn't really down to whether it's manly or not. It's more along the lines of what's good for me or not. So if you're out there and you're thinking, oh, I don't know, I don't want to look girly, don't worry about that. You know, like, I love my Lynx shower gel, but there are times when I go into the shower and I will use my mum's tangerine and lemon shower gel, which smells amazing. So for me, I'm just like, whatever smells good, whatever does good. So if you're not sure about something, just pick what you enjoy using. That can be manly stuff, that can be neutral stuff, that can be girly stuff. For me, I feel that although I want to help a lot of you out with any sort of dysphoria you may having about wanting to be more manly and stuff like that, I also feel like it's important to stress that don't worry if you can't get something manly or if you don't like it. It doesn't make you any less of a man. You know, you just are a man who prefers something that smells a lot more floral or something that's a lot softer or gentler on your skin. You know, it doesn't really matter. It's what makes you comfortable. That was my first video back, so I apologise if I'm a little out of it. Obviously it's been, I think, a month since I filmed a decent video, so I've kind of gotten out of sync really, and now I've got a new setup. I feel almost like I'm going to start waffling on again. But yeah, now I've got this new setup and everything. I'm hoping now that holidays are over and I'm going to have a little bit more free time, I'm going to try and get these videos up and running again. I am using someone else's camera and someone else's SD card at the moment, so that's going to make things a little iffy, but I've got a new job, as I've said before, and when I get that paycheck through, I'm getting a new SD card, or at least fixing the one that's gotten corrupted. So fingers crossed I can get that sorted. If not, I'm going to try and borrow this camera again. I'm going to get back to my regular Thursday updates. I'm sorry for leaving you all for so long. I had my reasons, but I'm glad to be back. So yeah, and I keep looking in the viewfinder. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye guys!